Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the video. Today we're doing something a little bit different. This is our 2012 F-150. Recently we were struck by a deer. You heard that right. It hit us, not the other way around. But that's not what we're doing today. Today we're going to get in there and we're going to put a new front strut assembly on this bad boy. Let's open up the box here. All right. We are going to put this up in there using hand tools. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and stick around for the whole video because it's going to be a good time. I hope.
Okay, so for some reason the audio here was completely gone, but I've got the truck jacked up. It's blocked up so it can't fall. Just kind of giving everything a look over here. Spun the wheel, no sounds out of the wheel bearing or the axles. Not really sure what the problem is that we keep getting this vibration. You can kind of see there the tire that looks fine. We've recently had them balanced twice with no change. The struts, I believe, are probably original to the truck, 230,000 miles. I did the other one side about a week and a half or 2 weeks ago, and it seemed to help. So doing this side to see if it makes it better. Not sure what's going on with it. About a year ago, I did all of the upper and lower ball joints, control arms, tie rod ends, and everything there. Talking here, we're going to split that apart. We're going to take the sway bar link out, pull the brake rotor, not the brake rotor, but the caliper, get it tied up, and then we're going to tie those wires back or at least get them loose. And then the tie rod end has to come out. Breaking apart that tie rod end and that top ball joint loose is enough space to get those out of there. It lets it swing out and down. Works pretty good. It's really not too challenging to get that stuff apart.
All right. Here's what we're doing. We're going to take this loose, basically pop this completely loose so that it's got slack. This bolt comes out. I don't think I need to take that one out, but I'm going to cut that zip tie if I can't get that out. This is all anti-lock brake stuff, and we definitely don't want it to get stretched. Not at all. Close, but no cigar. It's going to be the last one I grab and bet. Want to bet money? That's the right size, but probably not really 1/4 inch drive applicable, but I'll take it. Look at that. All right. All of these brakes and stuff are pretty new in here. Kind of replaced it all while I was in there working on it. Just kind of making sure we got slack. That's probably pretty good because this knuckle's should come this way. Should come that way. everything in my toolbox is a little bit of a mess. I haven't done a good job of putting it back, if I'm being honest. If I'm being honest. Okay, looks pretty good. I'm going to set that right there for now. You can see I got a piece of wire bent here. We're going to fish it in through the frame so that I can tie that up. Letting your brake caliper hang by the lines is always, it's just a bad plan. Just a bad plan. You're asking for trouble. Asking for trouble. Oh, that socket is on there really good. I think that is the size. It is the size I need. Okay. It's going to be the size that's under the tractor seat. I'll be right back. Oh my goodness. Actually, it's an 18 millimeter. Why has it got to be like that? Huh. Apparently we're going to see about learning how to do this with not all the correct tools. Because I don't know if I got an 18 millimeter wrench. I mean, I do right here. But alright, so now that that's loose enough, kind of got to take and screw this down. And that control arm, that sway arm there, doesn't look like a lot, but I promise you that it will keep that from settling enough to get where you want to go. It most assuredly will. And even though it hadn't been that long ago that I did this work under here, I am taking the opportunity to make sure I'm looking and checking and just kind of not leaving anything to chance as far as there being something loose. All right, there's that. Let's move you guys over here. All right, So we're gonna get that one off of there. Oh, let's see. I don't remember if it's a 21 or a 22. I'm gonna go find a bit of spray lube and the hammer that we're gonna need.
Well, once again, what we thought audio for some reason seemed to be on the struggle bus today. I couldn't find any spray oil for the threads there, so I just grabbed a old quart of oil that I'd used and got what was left in the cap to put a little bit on the threads. Always good to help yourself out a little. These are kind of like a nylon lock nut that comes with these new ends. Both the tie rod end and the ball joints have them. Kind of helps seal the threads at least underneath the nut, but it can make them a little bit of a bear to get off sometimes too. I really kind of needed a larger hammer to knock this loose when I get to that point, but I get it done. Sometimes you actually need the called a pickle fork or a ball joint fork or tie rod end fork, or most of the time though, if you just take a hammer and whack that knuckle pretty good, not the tie rod end itself, but you see there I'm right on that. It takes quite a few whacks to get it loose, and if you pay attention, I'm going to stand up here and kind of get a better angle to get a better swing at it. Just debating about a bigger hammer, because when all else fails, bigger hammers. But if you watch here, it's actually the very last strike that knocks it loose. Kind of checking it. Nope. Did you see it pop there on that last hammer strike? I know it doesn't look like it, but like I said, most of these parts are only a year old or so. Also installed right here in this very driveway. Going to get this upper ball joint loosened up. I'm not taking the nut all the way off, because if it would happen to come apart, I want a controlled descent. I don't want it to just come apart unexpectedly. And I also want to get this big bottom bolt out of that strut before I let everything come apart. I don't want to have any extra pressure on that strut bolt, because that thing is a beast. You'll see here in a minute when I get ready to get it broken loose how tight that thing is. I really can't complain about this old truck. I don't even remember how many miles it had when we originally bought it. We've had it a few years and we've put a lot of miles on it. It's been to a lot of places. Still pretty reliable. So that strut bolt takes like a 32 millimeter socket, which I actually bought, I think, for a different project. I don't actually think it was for this. It just happened to be the right one. Yeah, lots of flex on that breaker bar with that pipe on it. I swear it looks a little sketchy here when it starts bouncing, but I have actually, the truck is setting on the wooden blocks. So I promise it won't go anywhere. Sometimes you got to get up and put all your weight on it. I don't know how I didn't break that breaker bar, seeing it here on the camera like that. The thing was pretty tweaked. But you don't want your suspension coming loose. Get my one size fits everything crescent wrench there. Sort of the point of this is that you can fix your own stuff, right? I don't even have an impact that would get that bolt loose, but I've got hand tools. And yeah, I'm in the driveway, but the weather is decent. It's cool, breezy. I definitely think it's important that you learn your vehicles, be able to work on them, even modern vehicles. Buy you a good OBD code.
Okay, so we're going to try and knock this loose. This is all loose, and then we'll take this nut the rest of the way off. We want to controlled descent is our goal. Controlled descent. Small black random nut that should not fit anything that's we're currently working on. But all right, you see that pop apart? That's what we wanted. That's what we wanted. All right. Let's see if I can do this with my leg out of the way. Just about off. Okay, that is loose and just hanging there. So we're going to kind of hold on to it here, and we're going to control what happens. Okay, let's pull that free. All right, we got slack. That's going to mostly be out of the way. That's loose. All right. Now you can see what kind of space we got in there, right? And we're not pressing down on anything yet. That might. We're going to take those off, and then the strut will be loose. All right, so I got that one loose. I realized that I can get these from down here, where you guys can probably actually see a little something. I do have a strut spring compressor, but it's really not rated for like full-size trucks like this. And those springs are under an immense amount of pressure. There we go. It's a good fit in there. Can you guys see okay? Oh man. I'll confess that I did the other side kind of as a trial run last week. Actually, I'd taken the lower ball joint and everything loose and realized I really didn't need to do that extra step and have that extra work. You know, the other advantage of replacing the entire assembly is that if your spring's a little worn, you get new spring. I probably shouldn't put that right on top of that. Let's see if we can get you guys in here to watch how this comes out. All right, it's all loose. It's loose. There we go. There we go. In case you're wondering, the new one's not any lighter. We'll see if it goes in as easily as the other one came out. Or if because it's new, it's a little bit taller and therefore a little bit more challenging. Oh, don't scratch the paint, whatever you do, on this truck that recently tried to kill a deer. I think it's got to turn 180 degrees. I am going to stick a nut up here on it just to, so when I let go, it don't fall. And I'm going to try the foot adjustment. That probably worked better than I deserved for it to, if I'm being honest. Okay, that actually worked quite well. Very happy about that. So it's getting struts because we have this little bit of a vibration right at 55 miles an hour. And these tires are by no means old. And obviously the rest of the suspension is quite close to new. Just going to snug those a little. And it feels like a dampening problem, like the struts are just so wore out that it doesn't have any dampening properties left. So our thought here is that, you know, we need to replace the struts. I'm going to need a jack for that. I can pretty much tell it. Fortunately, I've got one. Hooey. Oh. Maybe I got one. It's been setting out. It may be stuck. Let me go. I got another yellow one. Might have to use it, or I might just have to heft the darn thing up into place the old-fashioned way and see if I can catch the nut. Let's not get ridiculous. That works. We're gonna be able to catch the nut, I think. Well, I thought. There we go. All right. Shoo. Now it's important to get that big bolt back through that strut before you start cranking everything down, because you're going to run out of room if you don't. It's going to be hard to get in. You start putting pressure on that suspension. All right. That thing was heavy, in case you're wondering. Quite heavy. Let's see if we can get it. I don't think I got my grease gun here. I'll have to go to the farm during my test drive and see how it goes. Let's, of course, anytime you do stuff like this to a suspension, it's worth getting it aligned. I have wrinkled my boot. Let's grab the old crescent wrench and pull it up this way. You don't want to tear your boots up. Gotta go the other way. There's the boot's leg. It's slipping now. That one's still pretty snug. Let's get that boot relaxed a little. There we go. So anyway, I was saying, getting an alignment is always the appropriate next step here. Okay? Because you have changed the geometry of your suspension from what it was. And it's important that you do not ignore that fact. All right. Do. I'll have to check the clock, but I will definitely give you guys the real lapsed time here. The real amount of time that it took me to get this done. Because you shouldn't be scared of doing it. Stuff like this, you know. You're probably more capable than you realize. And getting to know your vehicle is important. I'm going the wrong way. Now I will also say we don't have a local parts store. I like local parts stores if I got them, and I support them if I got them. We have some multi-state / national chain parts stores, and while they ain't a thing wrong with them if that's what you got, I will say that I have generally taken to ordering a lot of my parts when I can online, because they are significantly less expensive. Even when buying the same brand, you don't have to buy something that you've never heard of. Oh, that's tight. Good. Perfect. You know, this pair of struts was about $200, $225 delivered from Rock Auto. Not sponsored at all. Don't do sponsorships. It's just the place I use. And you know, it versus pick your chain, right? The local, in either of the local chain stores, were over $200 a piece, and I bought the same brand as what I could get from, well, actually these weren't the same brand, but they were an equivalent brand is what I should say. You know, they have the economy section, they have the, I don't think you guys can see me, but you know, they have the economy section, the daily driver section in Rock Auto. I always try to get the daily driver, which is closer to like factory type replacement. Or I buy the better heavy duty section, you know, and I've never been disappointed really. If I get something that isn't right, it's generally my fault. So yeah, there's a little bit of a hassle if you got to send something back, but you know, It's just one of those things that get to know your vehicle, know what you're ordering, and feel confident that you can fix this stuff and not have to spend twice the money or more to accomplish that. It's a lot, especially the parts crunch is still real in ways. Let's see. Oh, look at that! Didn't even relax so much that it won't go back on. My shim, however, is being a cantankerous little. Whew. Pro tip right here. I'm going to show you. Every time you work on your brakes, make sure that those things move easily. Number one cause of seized up brake rotors. Just telling you. That's my free tip to you guys today. Second most common cause of your brake rotors seizing up, right there, that hose. They get bad. They start delaminating, and they will get to the point where they'll let the pressure, because of course you're exerting a lot of pressure going in, and then you're counting on natural loss of pressure to for it to retract. And if that thing is all kinds of bound up, it's not going to retract. So if you're doing your brake calipers, do your brake hoses and stuff too. Make your life better. You won't regret it. I promise. We're about to wrap this up. Good and snug. Should be done with that socket. Gotta make sure you put stuff back where you take it off. Some of these are shouldered bolts so that they only go in so far so you don't crush what you're tightening, like this bolt right here, this little bolt, right? It's a shouldered bolt so it protects that. We're gonna clip that back in there. That actually didn't break, so I'm just going to snap it back in. I am going to get a zip tie to put on that because it should be secured. I think that leaves those top three bolts getting tightened up. We'll check everything to make sure I'm satisfied for tightness. You'll notice I did not use a torque wrench because I do not have a torque wrench. I should get a torque wrench, but I don't have a torque wrench. And that's just the way it is. So, the mandatory disclaimer, I'm not a mechanic. I'm not your mechanic. Should you decide to work on your own vehicles, you do so on your own accord, right? That's the unfortunate way of the world now. Okay, that's not the right socket for that. Apparently I'm allergic to whatever is floating in the air right now. Holy smokes. All right, let's recap. Tight, 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 secured, need to secure. All three tight, this is tight, this is tight. I am gonna zip tie that up, I'm gonna put the wheel on, and I'll let you know how the test drive went. Be back in just a little bit. Well, we went for a test drive, and it's better, but it's definitely not gone. I still have a high index of suspicion that when I took it and had the tires balanced and rotated, that they didn't get it balanced well. I don't have any wear patterns or anything. And you can see that these tires are like not very old. And it's very vertical. It feels very vertical in nature, the bounce. They've been rotated. I just don't quite get it. Still feels like something's out of round or out of balance to me. I think we're going to, my brother-in-law works for a Ford dealership. I think we're going to send it with him and have him really look the tires and the wheels over, make sure something isn't out of whack there. I'm leaving that in. Anyway, so it took a total of about an hour and 15 minutes to put this strut on. As you can see, it was hand tools for the most part, really. Didn't take long. It's not a bad job. Don't let it scare you. Get in there, do it. It's a good reason to get some hand tools. Build up a little bit of a tool set. Take care of your vehicles. Let them take care of you. It's very safe to drive. It's just enough to be an annoyance, honestly. So we'll figure it out, and I'll update. So thanks for watching. Appreciate you guys, and hope to see you next time.